আপনারা দেখছেন ILFL Soccer Night।
Here we go, guys. We're back for the second section of the ILFL Soccer Night show, and we are talking Interleague Champions Cup. We've got a few more results to go through and talk about the fare and fortunes of more of the ILFL teams. We just spoke briefly about Bromley, who scraped through, and we have to say scraped through against a very good Mostyn team on penalties. 2-2 was the result, and they won it 3-2 on penalties. But the other ILFL team who went through was Stepney. Did they scrape through? A 3-2 result it was in the end. Hasnat's come to join us. Good evening, sir. Stepney beating InterAsia by 3-2 suggests a tight, close game.
It wasn't to start with. I was there pretty much throughout the whole game. Rash was with me, and sort of Stepney took the early lead, 2-0 up, and they were cruising. And I think InterAsia pulled one back. Stepney then went up to 3-1, and they thought, right, that will push it through. But I think the last few minutes, actually, then Jim and Jermaine joined me as well on the sideline, and InterAsia were really pushing them. They were really pushing them.
They're not a team to take the grind.
And they were really grinding it. So, I mean, it could have gone anywhere. We were actually thinking, oh, is this going to be the first game that goes to penalties? Because that's the way it was looking. So it was a great game.
Didn't it almost go the same way for Stepney last year as well? Did they not have to go all the way up to Birmingham for their first game and just about scratched it by a goal as well?
I think they won on penalties. Was with 3-0.
That one they won, yeah.
But I think Stepney could have played better. I think they didn't go the full gear. I think they played in second gear, so to speak, and I think they had it under control. Yes, InterAsia came back in the second half, but Stepney could have raised their game. So I think overall, I think Stepney was superior. Obviously, the scoreline suggests was closer, but I think on the match itself, I think Stepney had full control. Obviously, in the last 15 minutes, Inter gave the push. They should have started from the beginning, but Stepney were the deserved winners overall.
Excellent. Jermaine, we have to talk about the Hackney and Leighton League because you guys are representing, as they say. Lots of teams doing well. Who should we start with? Who should we talk about? Let's run through a lot of the fixtures now. I mean, Clapton Rangers beating London Tigers from the Musical League by 4-2. I heard it was probably one of the games of the whole round, really.
Yeah, I said, you know, for me it was the tide of round, because I remember London Tigers ML from last season against London Meteors, and it was, to me, London Meteors said it was the best, it was the hardest game they had in the whole competition. So, you know, I spoke to Clapton Rangers, and they said, Jay, we're gonna just give it a good go, and the game didn't disappoint. It was a superb game, free kicks being scored, headers, curling shots. It just had everything. It was a brilliant game. Absolutely excellent game.
Rangers were Clapton ahead all the way through?
No, they were losing 1-0 by a really good, well-taken free kick. It just curled it into the corner, and it was really good. And, you know, London Tigers, you know, they played very good football, but then you could see Clapton Rangers started to come into the game more and started to impose themselves more, and the pace and I think a bit of the skill as well. You know, they just started to gain the upper hand in the game and got stronger as the game went on.
FC Bartlett, Hackney Vikings, 5-2, Bartlett beating the Vikings by.
I think Bartlett turned up with 11 magicians today on Sunday, because how they pulled it out of the hat was I just don't know. I mean, Hackney Vikings were excellent on the day, and you know, I think they really hampered FC Bartlett on the day, but somehow, you know, Bartlett was losing 2-1 with 10 minutes to go and scored 4 goals. You know, only magicians do that, you know. But Hackney Vikings, full credit to them. Very well. They played very well on the day.
Here are all of the results from yesterday here on the screen for you, so you can see them all in your glory now. We've spoken about all of them. Clapton Rangers beating London Tigers from the Musical League by 4-2. FC Bartlett beating Hackney Vikings by 5-2. Garrow All-Stars, as we've heard and spoken about, beating Beaumont by 4-1. InterAsia just losing out by the odd goal in 5 to Stepney. London Meteors, the current holders, dispatching Virgin MME by 9-2. MK Galacticos 4, West End 2. Mostyn and Bromley was a 2-2 draw, but Bromley go through on penalties. And Tottenham Phoenix beating London Tigers by 5-2. Jermaine, I suppose the question I'll ask you now then, who are the form team in the Hackney and Leighton League this season? out of those remaining?
Clapton Rangers are top of the league. The only team to beat them is London Meteors this season. And I think if there's a team that can be the first to win this Interleague Cup back-to-back, London Meteors could be that team. They could be that team. Don't write them off. On the day, you know, it could have been a lot more against the Virgin enemy. But I think for me, that the two teams is Clapton Rangers and probably London Meteors at the moment. The two form sides.
First of all, you've got to give credit to Hackney Leighton League because all 4 teams went through. That shows obviously the quality and the strength they have.
Strength and depth of the league, yeah.
And that's the obviously benchmark for all the other teams in the leagues to compete against. I thought I will agree with Jermaine. I think Clapton Rangers and London Tigers Women's League, that was the best game. 2 top quality teams. It was end-to-end stuff. I was impressed with Tottenham Phoenix, the desire and the passion. But for me, I think I enjoyed Clapton Rangers and I think I want to see London Meteors play again against another side of similar quality. I think Virgin were slightly under par in terms of quality-wise, so they didn't really test themselves. So it'll be interesting to see London Meteors and Clapton Rangers next round, and then we can truly say who's going to actually make it to the final or actually win it overall.
That's not Stepney are unbeaten this season as ILFL representatives now. How do we see them now in the Champions Cup?
Well, without disrespecting Bromley, they are the strongest, but they are up against some teams. I mean, I didn't get to see the afternoon games, but as these guys are telling me, I mean, the strength is all there. From the morning games, if there's any teams that probably impressed me, Rash is not going to enjoy me saying this, but Gower All-Stars giving Beaumont a good run for their money, even though it seemed like an evenly matched game, really and truly. The difference was chances being put away, and Gower really did that. So, if anything, they're the only remaining team from the Musical League. So if there's anyone that can cause an upset, it's them. However, I can't write them off, and I've always been told to mention them. MK Galacticos, we don't know enough about them, and they're sure to be there to spoil the party for the rest of us.
Jim, from Austin, taking part in the Champions Cup for the first time round. Enjoy it?
Absolutely fantastic, and as I said earlier on, the fact one of the players is crying when he's missed a penalty shows how much it meant to us. We were under par, but at the end of the day, we still went out there to compete. We went there to win the game. We gave it our best, and unfortunately it wasn't enough on the day.
They know what to bring next time round.
Oh, absolutely. We're already looking forward to it for next season.
Brilliant. That was your ILFL Champions Cup. From yesterday, we need to talk about the Challenge Cup, which took place yesterday as well. There were 4 fixtures that took place yesterday. What do we want to say about the Challenge Cup? We had teams, Beaumont, you took part again.
Beaumont Youth.
Beaumont Youth.
Yeah.
Get it right?
Yeah.
Beaumont Youth were up against their Part 2 fixture against Reach Out. We know what happened the first time round. Wasn't quite the same this time round, was it, Rush?
This time they meant business. They were well early, turned up early, they organised, they had a full squad, and you can see the difference. I think they bullied the Beaumont Youth. As you know, the Beaumont Youth, they're primarily all the age groups between 18 and 19, whereas the others were proper men. You can see the size difference, the quality and strength, and I think they just overpowered Beaumont Youth. But credit to the boys, Beaumont Youth getting to that stage. Obviously, we discussed it's the first season, they gain experience. It's not about overall winning the cup, but it's just to get the experience and familiarise the quality of level you need to play against. And I think it was a good experience. And hopefully in the league, they're in the run at the second position if they can continue winning in the league, and that'll be a good success in the season.
I think men versus boys is an apt description for all of the ties that took place yesterday. Let's have a look, take a look at those 4 results now. We've spoken about Beaumont Youth. They went down by 6 goals to 2 against Reach Out. St Catherine's under 21 can't score a goal in the league, and you know, surprise, surprise, didn't score a goal in their tie against Bird at 7-0. They lost there. Stepney B, by all accounts, gave a good account of themselves in the first half of that game, but SETA showed their quality and their power and beat them by 5 goals to 0 in the end. And Weavers, well done to you. Maybe the shock result out of the 4, beating Tower Hamlets, their B-side, by 3 goals to 0, and that puts you into the next round of the Cup. I should say right now as well, your Football League has finished and goes into its winter break, but next week we will hold the draw for the Champions Cup and quite possibly the Challenge Cup as well, and you will see those here live on the ILFL Soccer Night show next week, so you won't have to wait too long to find out what's happening there. So how's that? 4 teams, men versus boys. Yep, I think the men beat the boys pretty much in the quarterfinals. So now, 4 teams: Reach Out, Birdie, SCTA, Weavers. Are we going to get the Reach Out SCTA final that we've all been talking about?
Let's hope that the draw works out that way. I mean, rightfully so, the first division teams are making up the semi-final lineup. So, yeah, whoever we have to do the draw next week, let's hope their fingers are in the right place and keep them two separate.
So, who's going to win it?
Ooh, well, I was there watching the entire game of SCTA versus Reach Out. Finished 2-1 to SCTA. If anything, I'd like to say that will be the final game, going right down to penalties, because them two are really inseparable. Really are.
I see you nodding your head there, Rush.
Yeah, I've seen them both play as well. I think they're neck and neck. I think on the day, it's about which team has the full squad turnout and who performs on the day, because both in terms of quality are similar, both physical, both strong. And I think game-wise, I think it'll be too tight, too hard to call, I think. On the day, it's just a matter of who tells them. Both are really on the same level for me.
There you go. Sitting on the fence.
For once.
Saying Reach Out, maybe not, maybe the SCTA. Let me spoil the party and just say somebody else. Hey, Weavers, come on, guys. It's up to you to get yourselves there through your semi-final and make it to the final and spoil the party. So that gives us adds some spice and gives us something extra to talk about. Like I said, Challenge Cup semi-final and the Champions Cup next round. The draw will take place next week, and let's make sure somebody's got some magic fingers and pulls out some plum ties in the next round. I know Jermaine's looking forward to it. It's Hackney and Leighton teams. Four of them going through. It could very well be that Hackney and Leighton teams come up against each other. I see you nodding, and I think you probably know that's a possibility.
I think it's going to happen. Somebody's telling me that's what's going to happen, but we'll wait and see.
We've kind of spoken about it. Let's hope that we've not jinxed you and put Clapton Rangers up against Meteors in the next round, because maybe some of us would like to see that going further. Anyway, we've got more to talk about in the third section of the show. We're going to wrap up everything that's happened in the league, wrap up everything that's happened in the cup, and tell you what to look forward to in the new year. So stick around. After this break, we'll be right back.
আপনারা দেখছেন ILFL Soccer Night.